now doing the groundwork of trying to figure out how to have a museum. It's called MOJA, Museum of Jamaican Ancestral Heritage, and the genesis of it was my work with children in St. Elizabeth, up in the bush, where the kids have no exposure to anything beyond what they get in their school curriculum, and a small primary school, which Charmaine knows well. She has helped support it with her husband, helped raise money for a bus, because the kids were walking 6 miles and from all different directions. So when I discovered that they'd never heard of Miss Lou, I was like, oh no, this hurts my heart. And I realized how little exposure they get. These are kids that might never make it to Kingston to a museum. And so we said, after thinking of starting with a brick and mortar downtown museum, and we wanted something modern, we moved on to a sort of trifecta. Let's do a mobile museum and support it with a virtual, and eventually we'll have our brick and mortar. So right now we're really focused on a mobile museum, which the idea is to get this van or some kind of transport to take even suitcase exhibits around to rural Jamaica, and we have now partnered with the Jamaican Library Service that actually has about 124 little field libraries around Jamaica. And they said, well, look, that's a venue for you, because we'd like to get it out of the schools to meet the people. It's not just children. The idea is a museum with and without walls, that we can meet anywhere and discover our heritage in fun ways. I've been giving the children art classes. Charmaine knows all about this. And discovered that they can come right out of themselves in a way that is not a classroom project. There are no grades or anything. So their expression is free. And I started introducing heritage into this by things like the Taino, certainly, but also like even the set girls. Do you know the set girls? Mm-hmm. And when you see the children interpreting it, so we ask them questions and give them an opportunity to express themselves, and we take them seriously. We write down what they have to say.
That's good. What's the set girls? I don't know.
The set girls are a precursor to Carnival, because the set girls, I think it's over 200 years old, where groups used to do a thing called Brookings.
Okay.
Where the girls would dress up, and I think this was supported by the British Navy because they had colors. They would dress up in costume and have an all-night jamboree, which was the drums and so on. So it was a complete mixture of colonial Britain and Africa coming together to have this party where the girls they had different characters, and it's similar to Junkanoo, and it sort of went alongside Junkanoo, and I mean there's a lot more we can learn about it, but I mean they had Paris fashions and parasols and the Belisario paintings are very detailed on the dresses and what they wore. And so they were judged by how well they danced, and they would do a sort of dip and fall back. And you see the kids in their traditional graduation have this step forward and step back. That's all part of the African part of it. And then the food that went along with it was African. But obviously the clothing and the design was British colonial. So nobody in the school, none of the teachers had ever heard of the set girls before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's some.
Yeah. And we can bring it forward through, when we say out of many, Jamaica, out of many one people, the influences are all in our food. The Jewish, the
Indians.
The Taino really started with all their agriculture, and of course the Maroon influence on the jerk and all of this. And we want them to learn how the history of it is, so that when we're talking food with each other or with our visitors, we understand that it has this rich tapestry, and there's no Jamaican that doesn't love Jamaican food. And that's the first thing that happened to you as a Jamaican when you travel abroad. You get homesick for what? The food is the first thing you think about what you miss. You know, it's so deep. You know, and I was talking to you earlier. That's about the fact that, like Nanny of the Maroons, is this new documentary. They're talking about her as the herbalist, the woman who understood the medicine of the plants. And I was saying, can you imagine you come all the way from Africa and you recognize some plants? That's powerful. That plant is going to be your spiritual guide, and this is going to mean something really heavy to you. So the understanding of all these things, and if we can interpret and help the discovery and get young people to understand the value of their heritage, that they then become the what's the word I'm searching for, the preservers of it, the conservers of it, that they take care and pass it on, and that they learn from their elders. So we want to collect the old stories from the elders. We want to have groups where the kids are intergenerational.
Definitely teach these kids how to cook.
Yes, and then they learn competing with China and all these very cheap goods that come in. And with the techniques are aging out now, where the people who used to know how to do it stopped doing it because they couldn't make any money. I mean, you cannot. They don't put a value on that kind of work. And this is very painful because it needs to be preserved and valued. Nowadays, luckily, when you see an authentic, deck it out, so it just looks so exciting when it arrives at the library or wherever at a festival in Jamaica. Everybody go, wow, oh, that, we've arrived. And we will have lots of games and edutainment, let's call it that, so that we can really get them from young to older. There will be things to do that are instrumental, instructional, whatever. And this connection now, as I said, is for people really that will never get that opportunity to go to a museum in Jamaica, probably, not for a long time.